Alrighty, come on, let's get into it. Skeeter's got his 17th job to get to in a little bit. Mark Reddings, Will Schofield, Shelter FootyCast. Great to be with you. We were just discussing opening rounds next week.
Next week. We are up and about. We've got 2 matches in WA this weekend. If you feel like going to Bunbury just to while away a couple of hours, you can go watch the Eagles play North. And then on Sunday, I'm heading to magnificent Mandurah to watch the Dockers take on Melbourne.
You're bagging Mandurah?
I'm not bagging Mandurah at all. I love it. It is just a long weekend, and you can just imagine the track. I'll get caught up with an accident on the freeway. It'll take me 17 hours to get down there.
Mate, you could pop the windows down, get your hair out in the breeze. It's good to see your hair back out.
Yeah,
no hat.
Thank you, Sky.
Well, you told me not to mention it, but mate, you're not wearing a hat today. So I just
why are you wearing a hat every day? Like the Giants. What do you look?
I like wearing hats.
Okay, fair enough.
That's why.
Good.
Why are you wearing a hat? Anyway, it's great to see you skate. Look, don't let anyone else take, mate. It looks fine. It looks good. Now, Shelter FootyCast live from BackChat Studios. Don't look at Jaden. Jaden's not going to save you, mate. You've done this to yourself. Right, a couple of things to get through, Skate, before we get into the footy. That is right. Shelter FootyCast's favourite band, the Southern River Band, is back at Shelter Friday. So this Friday, as you're talking about Bunbury game, we're talking about Mandurah games, if you're getting down to the southwest for the long weekend, Friday night, Feb 28, yes, that is this week. Word from the lads at Shelter is it'll be one of the biggest events they've ever had. Southern River Band, I can only think because of the success this show has had, is having big success across Europe. They've come back from an American and Europe trip, and they're right in town in Busselton at Shelter, Southern River Band. So you know where you need to go to, shelterbrewing.com.au to get your tickets, book a room at the Hilton.
Goes well, yeah. I'll tell you what, though, the lead singer is of that band.
Cal Kramer.
Yeah, he's the only bloke I've seen like at the cricket, and if you didn't know someone, you thought, he's in a rock and roll band. He just looks like he's a rock and roll star.
You and I would not pass for that. A couple of idiots walking around. Skeeter, that is going on. And, of course, Thursday week, footy tipping starts.
Yeah.
So we've had lots of entries to our BackChat and Shelter FootyCast tipping competition. You've got to be a patron of either show to join. The code is on Patreon. So jump on a Patreon and you can sign up right now. You can go to shelterfootycast.com.au to become a patron of the Shelter FootyCast. It'll cost you $10 a week, right? $10 a month to be a patron. And you'll be in the running for slabs of beer every week for the best tipper, a grand prize at Busselton extravaganza at the end of the year, plus cash, $1,000 I said last time. Could be more than that, don't know just yet. But sign up to the Shelter FootyCast tipping comp and get that going, Skeeter. Are you going to be signed up? You better be.
I've got a few other things to do at the moment. I'm just working through that at the moment.
What do you have to do?
Well, my wife currently wants to sell my house, so I'm actually trying to get that in order. I had trouble with my remote control yesterday, so Schoey helped me out with that. So
it was good seeing you yesterday for half an hour while we sat on your couch and watched blurred television, and you proceeded to tell me about your Fire Stick. Nothing. I didn't see 1 second of sport, and you had 2 controllers pointed at the TV. One of them wasn't for the room. We found out later.
When you say it's all anyway, it's just a different. It's a Fox mechanism, so it works well. Yeah,
You're worried about getting raided by the police. Skeeter's got a Fire Stick.
No, I don't not. I don't.
It's okay. No one's listening, Skate. It's all right. Oh, good. All right, let's get into the footy. It's enough bagging, Skate. Why don't you do some intel on me and you come?
Because I don't spend my whole life worrying about just crap that you delve into. And I've told your source that if that continues, there'll be ramifications. So
right?
Yeah, I don't need
the tariffs on your daughters staying in their house.
Actually, you might be surprised. I've got other things on my mind than trying to get dirt on you.
That does surprise me. All right, Will Schofield, Mark Reddings, Shelter FootyCast. Okay, let's get into some footy, Skeeter. Probably the biggest one over the last sort of period of time, and I won't say weekend because we've been seeing games all week, but these big ACL injuries and big season-ending injuries, which we absolutely hate. Jagger Smith probably leading the charge there with notables, number 3 draft pick out of Carlton, big expectations to a side that is trying to sort of add the finishing touches to what they're doing, and that's a massive blow for the young man. But we've seen a few of them over the weekend.
Yeah, it's now going back to Dom Sheed as being one. We know that Todd Marshall's got the Achilles, but you're right, the ACL's the one that, it's just a 12-monther. There's been the Lars, there's been all sorts of different ways. We saw Dan McStay get back inside 12 months last year. So, but let's just quickly on Carlton and Jagger. That's just like he was part of course, the deal which West Coast Eagles were involved in through trade selections to get him across to get him at the Blues. So that was just, it'd be heartbreaking for him. Although he's a young kid, and the good news is that Sam Doherty, who's been through a fair bit of that issue with his knees, is going to help him recover and rehabilitate and mentally get back on track.
Monez Wakefield.
Andy Monez Wakefield, my man. I was disappointed to see him. He had a big pre-season, and unfortunately he's gone as well. So, yeah, and so just off the back of that, and I know we'll get to it, but that's a 12-monther. Clubs like Melbourne and Carlton, who are affected at the weekend, the SSP window, like the supplementary player setup, was closed on Friday night officially, but they want to speak to the AFL about pushing that back to maybe even 5 o'clock this afternoon, Melbourne time, so they can put another player on their list. Otherwise, they've got to wait to the mid-season draft. So
they've got the mid-season draft now, which has only come in the last couple of years. And I can see the point from clubs. They go, well, okay, we get these injuries, and now we're missing a great player like Jagger Smith or Monez Wakefield or Dom Sheed, who all are vying for spots in the 2022. And some clubs have filled them, some clubs don't. Carlton will go into the mid-season draft with a spot here. So how far would you like how far does it need to be extended?
No, I think it needed to be, and I've heard the talk out of Melbourne. I actually do agree. They played on Saturday, obviously, and a lot of clubs played during the week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Right. Hard to keep up with who was playing who, but they played Saturday. I think now, once you get to the last weekend of practice matches coming up, which is obviously against opposition, so North Melbourne, West Coast, Fremantle, Melbourne, I think this is a very strong case that they should be able to get that extended because they played on the Saturday. Yes. A lot of clubs played Thursday, Friday. They can make those changes if they have an injury. You can't do that if you get an injury on the Saturday.
So, mate, just to cut to the chase here, we can't be too long. We've got the mid-season draft. We've got the longest acquisition period we've ever had at the end of the year. We've got the SSP period. There's about 12 weeks during the season you can't add someone. Why can't you just add someone whenever you like?
You're saying forget the window being closed?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And so the arguments are going to come from state league teams that say, okay, West Coast ruckman goes down, and then you go and get the best ruckman out of the state competition, and that ruins a state team side. With all due respect to the state teams, this is a national competition with the Premier League at the top. Now, in any other league in the country, in the world, if you get an opportunity to go and play in the top league,
it's like someone playing in the NBL. If Bryce Cotton, for argument's sake, and was shooting the lights out as he was this season, and he had the opportunity to go and play with, say, the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah,
there's no way anyone would want to stand in his way. So, that's the argument. Yeah.
So why are we doing all these periods? Why don't we just say, okay, if in round 2 someone from Carlton does their knee, they've got a spot, they go and get the best mid in the country now.
In the country, as in the state leagues.
Yeah, in the state league.
Because let's be honest, the mid-season draft.
Yeah,
and look, you can probably reel off more than I, but the players that are in the mid-season draft that have been picked up, we know that the Marlon Pickett story has been the most celebrated. They're not world beaters per se because they've missed out on being drafted.
Yeah, so that's the same with the SSP.
Exactly, yeah. So it's in that same vein. So,
you're not going to get to replace Patrick Cripps with
a top
Marcus
line.
Bontempelli.
Exactly.
All right, so the people that get hurt the most are the state leagues, and I can understand it. Unfortunately,
it's a lay of the land.
They're the second division competition.
It's a feeder. When I say feeder, because a lot of the players in the Waffle have no ambition in playing and don't have the ability, which is absolutely fair enough.
And if they don't, then they won't go.
No, exactly.
They're not going to be forced to go and play AFL if they don't want to go.
But someone like, and even spoke to him late last week, who's hopeful, like Zane True on 6PR, and he's saying, I'm 22 years of age. Played a bit of footy with West Coast at the back end. He's got no hard feelings, but he said, mid-season draft. If I'm going well, absolutely. So they're the type of players that are hoping to get that chance.
Don Brew. So he went and trained with 2 clubs, Western Bulldogs being one of those. The Werribee captain we saw, the winning premiership captain in the VFL, misses out on an opportunity. But because the doors are shut now, he's got to wait till the mid-season. He might not ever get an opportunity. I just think we should be giving more opportunity for young players to play in the AFL. And at the moment, closing periods in time is a hindrance on that. So I don't think it's really protecting anything of great value, and we won't see 50 players leave the state leagues. It'll be 1 or 2 here and there that get an opportunity. I don't think we should be stopping that. Changing tact a little bit, Skeeter, Finn Callaghan has turned down, right, and I want to ask you off the top what you would do if a $17 million offer from St Kilda, re-signing with the Giants for 4 years. We'll talk about that in a second. $17 million, Mark Reddings. Tomorrow,
$17 million over 10 years at St Kilda was the offer.
I don't know what were the details.
Yeah, so apparently it was $17 million over 10 years at St Kilda.
So 1.7 a year.
Yeah, and
right?
can I be 100% honest? If I'm walking down Beaufort Street down here and Finn Callaghan's coming the other way, admittedly I'm not great with players that don't have jumpers. I wouldn't say he'd be the most recognisable bloke that I've ever come across.
Well, that would put him into the top 10 paid players in the AFL. Is he the top 10 players in the AFL right now?
No, not in my opinion.
No, he's not.
But that would have been, if he'd taken the St Kilda one, the longest in AFL history. The 10-year deals, going back in time, you have to look at the big names. Like Buddy had a monster deal. Alistair Lynch, when he went from Fitzroy to Brisbane. They're few and far between, but it's extraordinary the length. When we spoke to Paul Marsh about the length of the contracts on radio the other week and about whether it's good for the game, bad for the game. End of the day, the contracts for say, Clayton Oliver, when he was close to leaving Melbourne at the end of last season, he still had years to go on his contract, but there was a possibility that he was going to bail out.
So with that said, I mean...
Would I take the money? Yes. I would have taken that over 15 years, let alone 10.
Give it over 50 years. Now, with that said... Doesn't that say more about St Kilda? I mean, we have seen St Kilda for a long period of time. A long period of time offering players to come, and they can't attract players. They cannot get anybody, whether they're going to get paid $17 million or not. They can't get players to their football club. Now, we saw Ross Lyon in the media just last week talking about you basically turning yourself over as a football club if you start selling games. A little bit of a shot across the bows of North Melbourne, I feel. Mate, you can't get anyone to come to your club. Finn Callaghan won't take $17 million. What would they offer someone like... Now, Marcus Bontempelli is getting older, but LDU.
Well, let's look locally.
Sure.
What would Harley Reid be a player in 12 months that would be attracted to go to St Kilda?
Well... he'd be on their list. He'd be on their list of players they want. If they want Finn Callaghan, I reckon they want Harley Reid. So,
but if you Harley Reid, look, any player that you want to throw up there who is of real quality, what is the impediment to going to St Kilda? There must be something that obviously it's lack of success is one element. They're quite reliant, and I did laugh. Can I just say this? I did laugh at Ross Lyon having a go at basically North Melbourne about the selling the home.
He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, of course he didn't know what he was doing. This is from St Kilda that rely so heavily on handouts from the AFL and have for a long time. So, it's okay saying don't sell your home games, but to be fair to North and others that have done it, and Hawthorn's obviously done deals with Tassie in the past, I mean, they're trying to make money for their club in difficult circumstances. St Kilda have been on the, food stamps, as they say, for some time.
This has been reported as a verbal deal as well. I don't think this has been tabled officially. So, a few things here. Like, I think St Kilda will be filthy that it's in the media. They're probably running around town and with all due respect, they're running around town trying to get good players to their football club. And you got to respect that.
Yeah, but who have they actually, in all seriousness, who have they actually been able to... We remember going back, 7 or 8 years ago, Andrew Gaff was on the table. Yeah, Dusty Martin was... There's been Josh Kelly.
So Tom de Koning recently was offered $12 million to go to St Kilda. That was turned down.
But why are they not going, Schoey? You've got to have some theory.
Well, I don't think their list is very good. And if you're a player... not all, and I would say, the most players are not motivated by just money. You want to win.
Exactly.
You want to compete and you want to win premierships. And at the moment,
They played finals 2 years ago.
St Kilda's not set up to win a flag.
No, I agree, but I'm just trying to work out. There's lots of clubs that are in that same boat that are miles off the pace.
But are they acquiring players? I don't know.
Well, North Melbourne, you can see that what they've done in the last 3 or 4 years. Are they closer to St Kilda to winning a flag? Probably on the talent,
Yes,
young talent.
they absolutely are.
Yeah. The young, in the next 5 to 10 years, they might be challenging. Absolutely,
St Kilda just.
they're in no man's land.
I don't want to just bag St Kilda, but like their list is like nowhere. They've got some good top end players, but I don't see the potential. And if you're a player that's going to be offered big money to play there, you need potential. Okay, I know you're not good now, but can you be good in the next 5 years? Because if you're not, and 5 of my 10-year deal is wasted, well, I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to go and get, instead of $17 million over 10 years, I might go and get $5 million over 4 at a club like GWS.
We also got to be mindful, injury-wise, just in the short term, injury-wise has really cruelled the Saints in the off-season. Yep. We know that they've got two first-round top 10 draft picks that hopefully they end up being good players. Mateus Philippou's a really good player, but there's been injuries to a lot of their young players who've got talent. So Darcy Wilson, I think it is, they've got some quality there.
They're trying to get more quality.
Yeah, exactly.
And I wonder who's on the list.
Yeah, and we've probably been a bit too harsh, but unfortunately, just feels like there's a bit of a mental block for players, big name players, to go to the Saints, and you might be on the money.
A couple of final issues before we get into West Coast and Freo over here. Skeeter, Northern Bullants have closed the door on Tarryn Thomas, who's searching for a VFL return. Your thoughts?
Correct decision.
Yeah.
No, I've got no issue with that. I know that there are a couple of waffle clubs here looking at that possibility. Yep. I'd be totally honest and say I think, particularly with women's programs that are in place at most waffle clubs and most VFL clubs as well, and I'm the first person to say everyone deserves a second chance in a lot of areas in life. I'm not one of those people that just bar them forever, but I think this bloke's had enough opportunities. I mean, put it this way, the interesting thing is the AFL says we don't want him. He's not allowed to play for us, but he can play for a state league team. So it's almost like sort of wiping their hands of him and the situation. And I know he's gone through education and whatnot, but I'm pretty strong on the domestic violence issue and what it means and what he has done. And it's not just a one, it's multiple. So as a footy club, I would be steering well clear.
Yeah, it's just an interesting case. I agree with everything you've just said. I don't think often we see off-field issues put over talent, and that's a bad thing in a lot of cases. So clearly talented player. Football clubs are now weighing up, well, okay, does this, and I'm going to take away from Tarryn Thomas, does this person help us win? Probably, as a footballer. Does he help us as a football club, both culturally, financially, growing women's football, growing the game internally as a club? No, and we're not going to sign him. I don't think we see that. I don't think we see that as often as we probably should.
Absolutely. And the Northern Bullants, to be fair, they've looked at it, assessed it, and they have passed him over. So,
West Coast Eagles members voting on whether to bring back the old song. I want to give this a little bit of attention, Steve,
okay,
because just a tiny bit. I won't give it too much, but if the old song doesn't win in a landslide, I'll be very surprised.
It'll be a bit like, dare I say it, and I'm not putting any political slant on this at all, but it might be pretty similar to what the upcoming state election.
Don't bring politics.
No, I've got no skin in the game. I'm just saying it's going to be the federal politics. That's all coming up. I think you're right. I think in part it's not so much. It's Birds of Tokyo have done the remix, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So look,
it's not their fault.
100%, it's not their fault.
Commissioned.
No. I also think their song is associated with a lot of fans with, unfortunately, a lack of success. In fact, they're not hearing it. Not hearing the song in the last 3 or 4. So losing 100%. That old song brings back memories of 92 and 94 and, going through the decades and the success. So I think you're right. That will come back. The Bouncy Castle, which you used to run through. Did you ever run through the Bouncy Castle? Yeah. So, that's gone, as we know. It has gone, isn't it?
So is this all Don Pike?
I don't know, but I think it's just going back to what people like to reminisce and go back to the old style.
Yes.
Which in terms of singing the song in brief, it's probably easier to sing than the Birds of Tokyo version.
So, Skeeter, we did this on radio together, I gave you some guarantees of ins and outs of the top 8.
Yeah, guarantees,
So, and I'll guarantee them as well.
Yeah, will you?
Yeah, I'll guarantee them on here too.
Why don't you guarantee them with a financial investment? Or how do you do that?
What do you mean?
Well, just those 3 teams that are going to make the top 8.
What did you want me to do on radio? You want me to put some skin in the game, didn't you?
I just did, because you're so certain about it. And I've followed you sometimes when you've been so certain, and then you said, no, I got it wrong.
So I will give you, because every year we know that there's usually
changes.
Two in and 2 out is
At
the
least,
general rule.
yeah.
I'll give you 3 in and 3 out.
Three's actually, well, you know what, because it's normally, I think, 2.
Yeah.
3's, I think you're going
stretching
a
the
step
line a
further.
bit.
No, you're taking a leap of faith.
I mean, listeners of this podcast and viewers would know that not much that comes out of my mouth in terms of predictions is right. But this is just my thoughts. And when I say thoughts, I mean guarantees. This is my personal guarantee that these happen.
So load up, folks. And,
right. Do you want the ins or outs first? Ins.
Yeah,
Let's start positive.
Yeah, let's go the ins.
Fremantle plays finals this year. Fremantle Dockers not only play final, they're top 4, but they play final. No, don't worry about
Don't worry about top 4, Bulldust. Just why is everyone barracking the Dockers say, they're going to be top? Just get in the finals. That's the first equation. I agree with you.
The Fremantle Dockers play finals, guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
The Gold Coast Suns, for the first time in their marvellous history in this great game of ours, play finals. It is time, mate. They have Damien Hardwick, who knows how to win. Love him, hate him, whatever you want to feel about him, he knows how to win. He knows how to build a culture of winning, and that's what he's doing there. And their list is stacked, mate. They have talent coming out, their proverbial. Talk about St Kilda, right? Gold Coast have the opposite list.
What I do like is the appointment of Noah Anderson as their captain, young bloke. I think that's, the only thing with them, and you'd agree with me here, do you fully trust them? You don't, because last year you didn't. No,
there's nothing to trust on. There's nothing to trust on. They've never played finals before.
No, but they have. You're right. They've had talent, so nothing's changed on that front. It's about, you're right, being able to convert that. And look, they get a decent start. They get Essendon at home first up. They get the Eagles here, I think, round 1, which is their second game.
Yes.
So you're right. All things being equal, but they do have to learn to win away from home, and that's the challenge we've known about them.
But so does every away. So does every interstate team. Any interstate team that's good needs to win. But
they haven't,
50% of their games away from home. Gold Coast have one of the great home ground advantages in the AFL.
Yeah.
That playing there is different to anywhere else, and they train and play in that
humidity,
all year round.
heat, even the slippery nature of the footy.
But all of these things said, they've had that since their existence.
Exactly. It's still been no good. And they've had Gary Ablett. They've had all sorts of stuff.
They will play finals this year, Gold Coast.
Well, if they do, it's good for the competition. But again, I just don't have as much faith as you.
My third guarantee.
No, I think you're on the money given what's happening at the club.
My third guarantee.
Oh, no, I'm thinking of the third guarantee out. But go on.
No, my third guarantee. And this is like, I'm weaker on this because it's between, I'll tell you who it's between. It's between Collingwood and Melbourne.
Yeah. No, I know you've probably put your...
And I'm Melbourne.
Yep.
Yeah, Melbourne's my guarantee. I feel like they've been able to put last year in the bin. I've seen enough over the off-season to think Oliver's back, Gawn's uninjured, Petrarca's back and committed, and Goody's.
Who's kicking goals for them? Seriously.
I like Van Rooyen.
No, so do I, but he's a young man. He's still only, third season into his career.
I like Cozzy Pickett. I love Cozzy Pickett. I like Van Rooyen.
And, when Cozzy, playing his last year at Melbourne, says, I'll kick 30, 40 goals, and it's a nice little way to go out.
Do you think he might be motivated that way?
Yeah, of course. I'm not stirring up. But I put this, if you're having those two clubs, I'm not big on Collingwood winning the flag by any means, but I think...
I'm not saying Collingwood can't play finals.
I trust them more than Melbourne to play finals.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried about that. But they're my 3 guarantees
fair enough.
To play finals in 2025. Fremantle, Gold Coast and Melbourne. So do you have 3 in? You're going to have 3 out?
Absolutely.
My 3 out, guaranteed to miss finals. Apologies to all the Western Bulldogs fans. The Bulldogs won't play finals.
Strange, because a lot of their metrics last year were bloody good and they have the bones of a very good side.
Well, we've spoken about their list. Their forward line, elite. Their midfield, probably the best on paper in the competition. But Treloar's injured. Jamal Ugle-Hagan, we don't know if he'll play for the Bulldogs again, full stop. So this young star, we don't know what's happening there.
He'll play again.
That to me tells, there's culture issues throughout. Mate, Marcus Bontempelli, the biggest Bulldog to ever be a Bulldog. We're starting to hear questions around contracts and what's he going to do. Is the club set up in a way that helps him win a flag? Because we know he's motivated that way. You worry about the Brownlows he hasn't won, but it's the premierships that he's chasing.
Well,
he has one. He's
2016.
Sorry. He wants one as captain. He wants one as the leader of this side.
The biggest contract of all, I think, if they don't make under your scenario, is that the coach will be gone. If they don't play finals, I think, and Bevo's been a great coach, but I think their list has been so close to, you think, challenging after that grand final in Perth, but they just haven't been able to do more than that. So you've got the Bulldogs missing.
Yeah. I mean, this is where it gets difficult, doesn't it?
Well, it's hard because you're obviously going up the table as well.
Port Adelaide won't play finals in 2025. We talk about kicking goals. I think their forward line is their major issue. They've got high-end talent through the middle of the ground. Horn Francis, Rosé, Butters.
It's hard. So when you say those players, it's hard to believe that they're not going to play finals, isn't it? Like those names.
But even their back line, Alir, I like their back line. I think it's good enough to hold up. But their forward line, I don't think kicks enough goals.
No Marshall, no Dixon, obviously gone.
Yeah, so I think Port Adelaide doesn't play finals, and which is just a big fall from grace. They've effectively sacked their coach, Ken Hinkley. Like, this handover is just a 12-month sacking, isn't it?
I think.
Or is he retiring?
No, I think he was. I think this was the natural progression for him to finish up.
Yeah, that's a nice way of saying.
But it wasn't being sacked. I don't think. I think sacking, like Simo got sacked him, and everyone says no, he didn't. I think Simo got sacked. I don't think the Hinkley one. I think is different. But yeah, we're sort of splitting hairs.
It's a 12-month sacking. It's exactly what it is. And the third side, again, I'm not as strong as this. So Bulldogs and Port Adelaide, my two locks. I'm not as strong on this, but it's not because of what's happened in the last 3 days. But the more I look at it, the Carlton Footy Club, I just there's enough going on now. There was enough concerns last year. I don't know how they improve. They had a great list last year. They had superstars last year. Sam Walsh playing a full season will help them. But
he should be right for round one, by the way, despite that hammy. But Charlie Curnow won't play.
But that's what I mean. Like, Sam Walsh he's been injured, and he's been injured this off season. Charlie Curnow's injured this off season.
Nick Newman's gone for the year. Jagger Smith. We know the names that are going to be. Yeah, look, I think that's a reasonable assessment because let's be honest, they just got in the 8 last year.
13 games last year they won.
Yeah, so their best is still very good, but I think you're right. I think they're going to be. It could be paddling. When they get Richmond first up, the first month I reckon sets up a lot of stuff in your season, and that's how Vossi will be trying to work it.
I'm strengthening on Hawthorn to go very well this year after a few discussions I've had in the last couple of weeks.
Of course, the people you're speaking to are connected to the club. And, that helps.
I've sat next to Sam Mitchell at the wedding. GWS, just a little caveat. GWS. I'm also strengthening on. And I know it doesn't mean much, but Finn Callaghan turning down this big deal and staying with the Giants tells me enough that a player that's highly sought after, that's got a lot of money on the table, goes, you know what, this is where I can win games of footy. And so Giants and Hawthorn, if I'm going through my things, they're my top 2 sides this year.
Top 2? Okay.
Just in terms of, I don't know where they'll finish on the ladder, but I like them the most out of everyone. Have you got anything to say about any of that? Put your nuts on the line anywhere? Or?
No, well, you didn't ask me. Hang on. This is you coming out. I've said on radio last week, the guarantee. I'll tell you that. But you haven't asked me. And you know what? The only thing I'll say before, because next week's and later as we get closer, when we maybe the crystal ball.
You want the SSP period extended?
No. I'm asking. Like generally, you're so bullish on Geelong and they go back to back after they won 2 years ago.
Jeez, you've hung your hat on that. One thing I've said, hours of content comes out of my mouth, and you can't think of anything else other than that every time.
Yeah, and last year, Geelong, you still think the best team in the competition. Well, they're top of the table. They are at the moment. Yeah, they're the best team. Anyway, Geelong isn't the team for me to win.
Geelong's going to win the flag?
No, I didn't. No, I'm about to say I hate tipping teams to win back to back because I just reckon it's so hard.
Yeah.
But the team that won the flag last year, at least on paper, is only going to get better. But that's minus, of course, Joey Danaher. We've got to put that into context. But they're getting so many good players back. You think of Lincoln McCarthy, you think of Kitty Coleman. They've got Ashcroft, the young Ashcroft coming through. They're actually going to be better. That doesn't mean you're going to play better and going to finish high on the ladder and win a flag, Sco, because after you win a flag, as you've done it, you celebrate, maybe the belly's full to some degree.
It's just a percentage comes off it.
Yeah, that's my point. So but I still think they're as well placed as any to do it again, and that belief they might have. I guess one of the key players is Sam Day, who's gone to.
Yes.
So whether he can just play a role, I'm not saying be a star,
right?
He can play a role on the forward line and give them that. I mean, very hard to replace Joe. That's the bottom line. That's why Oscar Allen's been on the radar. But I would suspect Geelong to be slight sliders again, even though they keep getting players of great quality.
Yes,
they're a team I think could slide. At some stage, they're going to slide. We keep saying they're going to slide. They never slide. I agree with you with Carlton. I think they're vulnerable, and I also agree about Port. One of those teams, I reckon, Port Adelaide or Sydney. I think. I just think the emotional toll that it's taken, Port being around the place for the past 5 or 6 years without getting the result. Sydney, the damage that's been done in 2 grand finals. I think for one of those clubs, it'll mean they have a big slide. So what's going to happen after the end of the home and away season? They'll finish 1-2 now. I've said that.
Very good. Will Schofield, Mark Redding's Shelter FootyCast. I just thought we'd have a little look at the Freo and West Coast match sims over the weekend. I was at the West Coast one. I watched 3.5 quarters. Start there. Happy to start with West Coast.
What, were you working there?
Was I working there?
Yeah.
No, it was a past player.
Oh, okay.
Get together.
No, just check because it's quite devoted and quite conscientious if you're going to watch an intra-club sort of match simulation.
Mate, I'm a media professional. Why
No,
do you think?
clearly.
Why do you think I wouldn't be at a match sim on a Saturday morning? Honestly, I was actually. I haven't watched any of West Coast this year. So I saw the Monday game against Richmond, and there was elements that impressed me. But I also, it was a poor Richmond side, which we spoke about.
This weekend we'll get a lot better.
We will. So what I saw in the practice match, I'll start negative and I'll finish positive, all right? Negative, it was first 18 versus second 18 with top-ups, like waffle top-ups. Waffle top-ups led at quarter time, 6 goals to 5. So they leaked goals. They tried to go too quick early in the game, and they tried to take the game on when it wasn't there. And so the thing with going fast in games, everyone wants to do it. But when the heat is on, which is in the first 15 minutes, one turnover, goal. And that's what happened.
And that's what happened just quickly when Adam Simpson, remember there was a period, might have been 2 seasons ago now, either way, there was 2 matches against Richmond and against Sydney where they tried to go quickly. Simo said, we need to go. And he was obviously trying to do what was the trend in the game. But they turned it over and they got absolutely torched. So was there a bit of that happening with players going and turning it over? Was that the skill execution again?
Yeah, well, it was just fundamentals again, which I keep banging on about, but missed skills. The last kick or the last handball, there was either one too many or it didn't hit the target.
Yeah. So
that's going to be an ongoing piece for West Coast. But from that moment, either Mini McWalter cooked them or they... Or I think this game plan actually works better as the game goes on. People get tired, the game opens up, and going faster helps more.
It probably what I'm hearing is that obviously they want to be a territory based team. And look, most coaches are probably in the same boat, but I think it's sort of the reset the Eagles needed. Now this is in February. No points have been won or lost. But it just feels like this is, from a coaching perspective, and I spoke to someone yesterday saying that, for instance, Jared Schofield, how's he going? Yep. And the feedback I got was that, look, Minnie's saying to him, you just do what you do, and giving him his head to run his role the way he chooses. And he said, look, he's really enjoying what McWalter's bringing, Schoey. So that's, as in Jared Schofield, so that's a positive. I mean, but it's all hearsay now until they... buckle up on Saturday against North, who'll be improvers, and then a couple of weeks after that. The
gold nugget I heard from West Coast as we finished, there's players that played well. Honestly, it was an intra-club. So
did Jimby take the mark of the year?
Oh, it was good. It wasn't the mark of the year, but I'm a big fan of Ruben Jimby, who we still don't know about his...
Can we just get this out and dusted by the end of the week? How's this gone so long?
But if he gets suspended, I'm going to absolutely raise hell.
The
golden nugget for West Coast fans and for people listening along that are big fans, and I'm telling you, I don't hate West Coast. West Coast have been trying to go quick for a couple of years, but they've been missing the how. What Andrew McWalter is bringing to West Coast, he's going quick, right? We can see that, but he is teaching them how to do it. And that has been something that I'm hearing wasn't quite there for a couple of years was, we're going to go quick. So you get the ball and we're going to go quick. And you can think, if you haven't done that or you don't know how to, it's like, I'm just going to go quick and then turn the ball over. Go on. Andrew McWaldra is spending a lot of time on the how. How do you, when you have the ball in your hands, how do you go quick? When you are a receiving player and someone's got their ball in their hands, what do you do? Where do you run? What's the strategy here? What are you doing as an offside runner? What are you doing behind the footy when we're going quick? Spending a lot of time on the how. So I think it'll be a work in progress, but I heard that over the weekend from someone who would know, and I think that's very positive in terms of when you're trying to do something new and you're trying to get something right, quite often you go, well, I want to go quick, great, and you want to go the end goal. But you got to think about how you do it. And it might sound funny, but that's what Andrew McWalter's doing.
Yeah, so in essence, the concern, look, it sounds like he's, not this year specifically, but maybe the next 2 or 3 that'll come to fruition. But this year at the moment, if you've got any religious bone in your body, West Coast Eagles fans, just pray that Jay McGovern does not go down, because if that is the case, to me, they're going to be extremely vulnerable in 25, which is obvious given Sandy Brock's arrived, and we know that Harry Edwards is an emerging player, but yes, McGovern has become so much more important given the departure of Tom Barras.
We will get more into West Coast on Thursday's show, which, Skeeter, given you don't have a second job on Thursday, we're going to go a bit of an extended show on Thursday if you're
really?
okay with that, Skeeter.
Yeah, okay.
We came in short on the first couple, so get a few minutes to spare from you. We're going to give every team a bit of a run through, a bit of a preview and a prediction. We're going to give our grand finalists, our Coleman medals, our Brownlows. We're going to do all that Thursday, and that'll include West Coast. So we'll spend a little bit more time there. Fremantle, they had a match sim on the weekend as well. Big news coming out of that. Josh Tracy kicks 5. He has every tool in his toolkit to be a top 5 forward in the competition this year. He'll rip it apart this year.
Top 5?
Yeah, rip it apart. Not necessarily goals. I just mean...
I'm thinking top 3. I think he's... Yeah, I think you're being conservative. So, top 5.
So, go on. Chips in.
I think he'll be top 3, absolutely top 3. If he's 22 years of age, and I think you're a fan of his, so I'm not going against your grain here, but you're saying top 5. I think, seriously, if Fremantle have the season that you think they will, and he stays fit, I think he could generally be arguably the best forward in the competition. Okay,
there you go. Thank you very much for getting off the fence for once, Skeeter. Josh Tracy, best forward.
Well, you're top 5. I mean, seriously, there's 18, so you got him in the top 30%.
So let's say he's third, right? Let's say he's third in your metric.
Yeah.
Can he still be third in my metric?
Yeah, but if top 5 is like, it's
2 other players.
So who are the top 5 forwards in the top big gun forwards? Curnow, Hogan.
I would say Oscar Allen has the potential to be there this year from what I saw at the match sim.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, potential, I suppose. But I'm saying at the moment, coming off the back of what we've seen last year, you're going to say Hogan and Curnow, and, I mean, is there there's obviously a couple of names we're trying to think off the top of our head.
Did you say Curnow?
Yeah.
Did you say Hogan?
Yes, I did.
Would you have Harry Mackay in there or not?
Possibly. I'm trying to think of some of those other
Jeremy Cameron.
Cameron, yeah.
Jake Waterman.
Yeah. Yep, Cameron. I think Cameron obviously is in that category.
Ben King.
Not quite.
Nick Larkey.
Yeah, is he top 3? No, not
that's where we stop.
But they're the sort of in that space. I think Tracy comfortably sits in that area.
And what do you... Right, okay.
I think in top 3. So I just think he's going to... If he can have the year that he's... if he gets the run, he could be really, really good.
I think positively for West Coast and for Fremantle, they've got 2 key forwards that can both go big. I think Jai Amos is going to have a big year this year for Freo.
Absolutely. And look, he's the name that keeps bobbing up. Murphy Reid is the guy that at Fremantle that was impressive again in the intra-club. He will be pressing very hard to play round 1, and that's good. It puts pressure on some of the guys that might have just stepped up and thought, well, I'll just roll back from 24 to 25. He's going to put some heat on them. And so, look, by all accounts, he's the revelation of the off-season.
So he's a mid-forward. He'll roll into that rotation. They've got good depth there now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen on social media even some options of the small forwards, and you think of who they've got there, like a Bailey Banfield. Is it Michael Walters? Obviously, there's Shea Bolton picks himself, obviously, but there's probably 4 or 5 on that periphery that you go, wow, who's going to get the small forward role? Switkowski's in there. Yeah, they've got enough choices that the players are going to have to look over their shoulders.
Before we get to the emails and get you out the door, Australia beat England in the cricket on the weekend.
Yeah, watched a bit of that. Josh Inglis, WA's
They smacked them.
Originally from Leeds, so it gave us even more pleasure the fact he was born over there and decided to come and live here. And
Is that right?
Yeah, so he's going gangbusters.
And sorry, I'm sorry to cut you off, but the ice hockey, you come in here all over.
Well, there's two big rivalries in sport. Just quickly, India knocked over Pakistan at the Champions Trophy last night, which is India's going. They're a gun one day side, and Canada defeated the United States, because being the Canadian.
You came in here and said we beat America in the ice hockey. I said Australia beat America in the ice hockey.
No, because there's been a bit of fuel in the fire and the anthems are being booed and all that. But because the Canadians, well, it's a bit, we're sort of under siege at the moment, the Canadians. So it was nice to go to Boston and win and just keep a few Americans quiet.
You might not have a country soon. I'm going to buy you. Isn't America going to buy you? Isn't Trump going to buy you?
Well, with the 51st state. Hence the Canadians aren't sending too many Christmas cards across the border at the moment, and rightfully so.
Very good. Will Schofield, Mark Reddings, Charlotte FootyCast. All right, Skate. We're just going to get into the comments straight away out of YouTube. Big show on Monday. Big reveal, of course. Skater in the cap with the dyed sideburns has massive undercover cop energy about it.
Under what?
Undercover cop.
Oh,
that's from Morgan.
Undercover cop. Okay, thank you, Morgan. Yeah.
Okay, there's a bit of a long one coming in.
You've pre-read any of these or not?
No, of course not. The issue... we spoke about the broadcasting between KO and Channel 7, Skater. The one thing I didn't mention last week, I know you're a Fox man, is that the 7 Plus app. No, seriously, I watched it during the summer with the cricket. It actually is really good. So if you've... A bit like KO, except this is free, obviously, with the 7 Plus. No, it's handy. No, sounds like an ad to me.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm just giving the pros and cons. Which you went on about.
I like it.
Don't
get defensive. I like you giving an ad. It's good.
7 Plus is just another option for those that don't want to pay the money, mind you.
Unless you want to watch Saturdays.
Yeah, Saturday footy, but that's most people don't have the same.
I agree with you. 7 Plus app is good.
Yeah, it is good,
except on Saturdays. What? The issue with the broadcasting change is the choice of KO to stop providing coverage to rural areas, regardless of if they have internet connection or not. I have KO through my Freo membership and prefer Fox's coverage over 7, so it doesn't affect me. But this is disgraceful and means footy fans in regional areas will not be able to watch footy on Saturday unless they have a Foxtel subscription. So, Hugh, that sounds like almost a bit of a 6PR follow-up there, Skate. I don't know anything about a discontinuation by KO into rural areas.
Mate, I don't know about anything to do with KO, let alone rural areas. But that is an issue, and to be fair...
If it's true, it is.
It does. And as I said to you before, if that's the case and you then have to subscribe to Fox, I think the minimum amount you're paying is probably $50 or high $40 a month. So for some people, I'm not saying that for people like you and I, it's a given. We do it. And a lot of people will spend our money in that way. But some people might think that, and cost of living, always got to put that in mind, that it's expensive. So hopefully that KO situation gets resolved for those people affected.
I would have liked more sledging of Skeeter in the comments, but there's not. Last one here from Richo is, hey boys, any chance you're doing a pre-season show at Shelter again this year? Pending, unsure. Can't answer you, but the Southern River Band will be playing there this Friday night. So that's about as best as I can give you right now.
Yeah, scheduling's a bit difficult just because...
you're the man of many, not talents, jobs.
No, I'm just going to work. Yeah, it is a bit tight this year, but we'll do our best to get down at some stage this season.
If anyone wants to put Skater up at a penthouse somewhere, then I reckon he could probably make it work.
Just the Hilton's fine. I don't mind the Hilton.
Yeah, very good. Skater, make sure you sign up to the tipping competition. FootyCast at BackChatStudios.com.au. You're going to be a patron to enter that one. Get your tickets to the Southern River Band. And I don't know, finish this off, Skate. Your hair's looking better, by the way.
Yeah, thank you, Schoey. And I'm just proud that you're actually acknowledging me as a person. Last week you were just laughing at me for the whole time. So
I wasn't laughing at you.
You were laughing. And
I wasn't. I couldn't have said it more times. I was laughing at the fact you changed your good...
That's fine.
Your grey hair looks good. I was reflecting over photos. I walked through your house. I was look at this beautiful grey-haired man. It looked great. And then I look at what you've done.
Oh, I've done. Anyway, that's good. Have a great week. We'll speak to you Thursday where we got a 3-hour podcast, is it?
Extravaganza Thursday.
Can't wait.
Absolutely.